Welcome to the Rebuilding of Venezuela podcast. Business opportunities, the market, and the talent needed to make it happen. We bring you a dual perspective, the U.S. business lens and the inside view from Venezuela. Welcome to the Rebuilding Venezuela podcast. Business opportunities, the market, and the talent needed to make it happen. I'm Miranda, coming to you from the United States. And I'm bringing you a perspective, the U.S. business lens. And I have my guest Amaury here, and he's going to be bringing the Venezuelan perspective. Every week, we break down what's happening, what smart operators are doing, and where opportunity is forming, with a special focus on the talent that will ultimately determine who succeeds. Let's start with your Venezuela reconstruction update. When we talk about Venezuela reopening, most people think about big industries: oil, infrastructure, logistics, energy. And yes, those are real, but there's another layer of opportunity that's even more accessible: entrepreneurship. Here's the reality most people don't talk about. Venezuela didn't just experience economic decline, it skipped an entire decade of business evolution. While the rest of the world was building modern fintech infrastructure, while SaaS companies transformed how businesses operate, while AI became embedded into every industry, while e-commerce logistics matured and scaled, Venezuela was frozen, almost cut off. Now that the market is reopening, all those categories are wide open. The businesses that become normal everywhere else, they simply don't exist there yet. Payment platforms, buy now, pay later, vertical SaaS tools for specific industries, modern logistics software, AI-powered business services, digital health, online education at scale. These aren't nice to haves anymore. They're the infrastructure of a modern economy, and Venezuela needs all of it. That's not a problem. That's one of the biggest entrepreneurial opportunities in Latin America right now. The entrepreneurs who move first won't just build companies, they'll define entire industries. Today, I'm excited to welcome Amaury Loaiza to the show. Amaury is a Venezuelan-American tech entrepreneur based here in South Florida. He's the founder of NextGo, a digital transformation and DevOps consulting firm. He's got deep experience in cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure, and building technology companies, with past roles at ExxonMobil, IBM, Cisco, and is currently at Carnival Corporation. He studied systems engineering at Universidad Santa Maria in Venezuela, so he's lived both worlds: Venezuelan roots and U.S. tech operator experience. Amaury, welcome to the show, my brother.
Wow, Alex, thank you. Appreciate that. Incredible introduction. Definitely it is. You define the real scenario in Venezuela right now. And well, we're here to bring a couple of ideas that actually need on the country right now.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for being a part of the show. Amaury, you've built companies, you've worked in companies, you've consulted companies on the U.S. tech ecosystem,
That's
and
right.
you have Venezuelan roots.
Yep.
When you look at what exists here versus what exists there, where do you see the biggest gaps and opportunities?
That's a great question. It's incredible to define the weight of the opportunity that we have right now in Venezuela. I can bring you a bunch of the most of the important part based on Venezuela is not only the oil and gas and the kind of natural resource that bring a lot of money for everybody, but also there is a bunch of opportunity on talent. Our talent, they are very connected to the U.S. culture for Asian. So we share a lot of culture between each other, and this funny because we almost using a lot of Spanglish word into the normal communication every single day, but also that kind of relationships bring a different way to see the problem. We don't see the problem. We see the way to solve a problem right away with the
It's true.
minimum of the research we have
It's
in
true.
hands. Hmm.
It's true. It's true. And I love that about the Venezuelan people: entrepreneurial, resilient. Um, I have no doubt that the rebuilding of Venezuela from a technology perspective. I mean, I'm just thinking about all of the young Venezuelans, maybe second generations that came here, came to school, um, and really were part of the technology boom
Yes.
in the United States, and how how anxious they might be of
Yeah.
like all it's like wide open space, in Venezuela, how they might feel this deep calling to almost like, how do I get involved? How can I be a part of this? Talk to me about that feeling, Amaury. Give us the heart of the Venezuelan American. What are they feeling right now when it comes to entrepreneurship and rebuilding Venezuela?
Yeah, people thinking when you are an entrepreneur, you only focus on money and make money, but it's a completely wrong perspective, because your mindset is, when you're trying to build something, is to provide into community a better way to live in the life. Not only providing jobs, you provide an opportunity to grow up, and it's only not only for one person, it's going to be for the entire family. So when you learn that kind of culture here in US, and you organize and understand that you can replicate the same model on your country, and you can make money and also bring the money for the people, help the community, learn new stuff, and be involved in all the time. That's additional plus. You have additional plus on your notes because you bring more than you have, and it's incredible. This is what I'm trying to share with the company. That's what one of my first flag into the companies, um trying to understand the America. We all entire continent, we have a different culture, we have different flavors. We can bring that kind of knowledge into the real companies, in providing that resilient mindset for
Yeah.
every aspect on every single project that we get involvement.
I
That's
love
definitely
that.
is the best. Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, I've always seen entrepreneurship as someone who sees a problem in the marketplace and
That's
comes
right.
up with a solution. There's a
That's
problem.
right.
Here's the solution. Here's the mechanism that's going to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And boy, are there a bunch of problems in Venezuela
A
that need
lot.
to get solved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm almost overwhelmed of just thinking about all of the crazy opportunities. And I'm thinking some Venezuelan guys, need to get together, lock themselves in an Airbnb for a weekend, and
Yes.
no one leaves until they have figured out what they're going to do,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because I think individually, all the Venezuelan-American entrepreneurs need to think, what one little piece are you going to solve in this equation? But it's going to take getting together, putting a bunch of ideas on the table,
Mm-hmm.
and really saying, okay, let's go after that one.
Exactly.
What business categories then? Let's say I am, those guys that got together as like, okay, we're going on a retreat. We're going to figure something out. We're not leaving there until we figure out what we're going to do here. What business categories that are mature here in the US, but are essentially non-existent in
Mm.
Venezuela? And I say essentially non-existent because there are companies that have been able to start or be a
Right.
part of the startup world in Venezuela.
Right.
Definitely not at the rate as it is here, probably with more restrictions than US
Yeah.
companies, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of hurdles you got to get over, payment, this, that. Let's brainstorm.
Yeah.
What are
Absolutely.
some
Absolutely.
categories?
Well, they have an incredible list of that. I can mention to you, application like a CRM, like a APIs, e-commerce, or economy based on API automation, security design. There's a bunch of stuff, but for me, based on that perspective, you cannot put in every company that kind of idea if you don't have a stability, the basic one. And the basic one is definitely the infrastructure. So how do you find infrastructure based on the what you need or what you have on Venezuela right now? And that's the most important, because internet connection, need a router and switching, they need a server, they need a technical guys, they need a normal UTP cables, electricity. There is a lot of stuff involved in that, and you cannot work in is that basic is already covered and functional. We can focus on the confiability and reliability of the infrastructure base for technology. After you put in the normal ways on that, you can build whatever you want to, because Venezuela is completely, it's like a white paper. You can write anything and you can create anything right now because the country needed right now, today.
I love that, man. Well, um you were going into, Amaury, what you were gonna do. Is there something you can share publicly on the podcast? That's like, what are you specifically gonna do?
Yes, absolutely. I have we internally on the company, we have a couple of ideas that we can define as what is going to be the next step for helping the normal people. The as we said on the Spanish, the personas de a pie. People from the field, people, the normal community. And one of the struggle they suffer right now is the money, is the cash flow for the money. So there's a bunch of solution based on fintech they can build for providing a better understand how they can pay the normal internet connection, the food, the electricity, that kind of commodity that they need to do every single day, a taxi, that kind of stuff, a senior, whatever they need to pay, right away. And if you create an ecosystem to build them based on API, you will be probably providing updating for those legacy banking on the country to adapt into digital transformation right away, without that kind of friction between the old school compliance and the new one, and the adaptability. So there's a bunch of ideas. This is one of them, but probably I can mention to you a million of that.
My company, we were using ChatGPT, now we're using Claude. But whatever it is you're doing, like, my brain automatically thinks, okay, Claude, I want to help. I want to start a business, a fintech business or AI business, or exactly what Venezuela has and doesn't have.
Right.
Give me 100 ideas of businesses that are going to be needed now. I think I had an episode before, Amaury, where we were talking about like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of Venezuela kind of reopening.
Yep.
And you were mentioning like some things can't start until phase 1 is done, right? You were saying certain things just literally it doesn't exist. Either diplomatically it can't exist because there's still sanctions. Like, think about certain things. I can't just go and start a fintech company tomorrow in Venezuela, because today, as of the recording of this Venezuela podcast, we have some sanctions still.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not as easy. Certain things have to open up for certain businesses to have to exist. But there are some phase 1 businesses that could start to happen right now that could lead to phase 2 services. I think when we as entrepreneurs, sometimes we come up with these business ideas and we want to launch like the final product. And it's like, no, how about the phase 1 product that can work?
Exactly.
Then the phase 2 product. But I personally, I already have a business in Venezuela and we're already getting going and we've been going. But for others that don't have that, lean on AI, get into that, have it tell you what you can do, how you can be involved in the rebuilding of Venezuela entrepreneurially. That's at least what I would do. So, Amaury,
definitely.
Let's talk about the differences between building in an emerging market and building in a mature one. And I say emerging market in Venezuela. Gosh, we're talking about it as if it was in the Stone Ages. It's really weird because Venezuela has some startups and entrepreneurship. It's not like it was left completely behind. Because los venezolanos bregaron. In other words, in English, they figured it out.
That's right.
There was ways around things. But let's call it an emerging market. What are going to be some challenges, Amaury, that you already think or know, for entrepreneurs looking to do business in Venezuela?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely it is. As you mentioned, we have a different staging. I think so. The first stage or the first, yeah, the point number one is going to be stability. Without stability, you cannot build anything because I mean, if you build a company and a business model here in the US, the first step is scale. After that, you convert into stability. And in the Venezuela field, it's completely flip side. I mean, you need to stability first.
Mm,
After that, you're gonna be scale.
mm,
And without that, you have a lot of stuff to cover, like complaints, money laundering protections, sanction, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of stuff that need to cover first, and after that, definitely any model, any business model that you have specialized on the digital world, they can bring your idea into Venezuela. But after the stability is already done,
that's
without that,
interesting.
no, yeah,
I'm in the staffing space. So, for me, um, an emerging market like this is it's like a fire hydrant of opportunity.
mm,
People are going to be needed to rebuild Venezuela.
yep,
Period. End of story. Like real
right,
people.
yep,
Um, and so because I'm in the staffing game, um, we're just experiencing a crazy boom in this now. And so I can exist while infrastructure is developing, right? You're talking about infrastructure being developed. I can exist. In fact, I'm part of that
mm,
infrastructure being developed, because to develop infrastructure, you need people, right? So
right,
I'm in a unique place where I'm going to be there day one all the way till the end. Well, let's not say the end, but all the way through.
yeah.
Um, what other business models work while infrastructure is still developing? Because you're going to have some entrepreneurs that want to do something now. You're going to have some entrepreneurs that it's better to build now and deploy later. But there's some entrepreneurs that can build and deploy now. I know I'm talking to, I have a client who supplies
That's a
parts
great point.
to the oil and gas industry. So
Yep.
think about that. Like, those entrepreneurs shouldn't be thinking 6 months, a year. Those
No, no, no.
entrepreneurs need to
Right
be
now.
hustling now,
That's right. Yeah.
getting contracts now with the oil and gas, setting up connections now in
Yep.
Miami. Who's going to be your supplier of oil and gas, parts? That's
Yep.
a now thing. Amaury, give me some now business ideas possibly connected in the tech space.
Absolutely. Actually, business model you can build it right now, or even you can not build it, because you can find a lot of company that they already have experience in that in Venezuela, and it's part of the collateral way to making business with oil and gas is the logistic. Every single logistic company need a supply, need a new truck, new people, new driver, controlling of the wave, where they have what kind of industry they're gonna field. It's a lot of collateral opportunity based on the logistic part. If we combine that with digital world, you can build up for renting trucks or renting a big trucks for some kind of stuff that you need to do related to oil and gas. So there is a lot of opportunity, real opportunity you can build right now. And the other part is the mechanical way, because those company, they have those old trucks from the old, ancient ways that they need to update it. You probably need to buy a new stuff. You can buy it here in US and go to and put it into Venezuela field. So there is a lot of opportunity in this. It's not you don't need to have internet connection, great internet connection, or a Mac computer for development. That no, you only need to see the opportunity and try to connect in with the digital world right away. And probably you can connect it with some kind of AI for the optimization and automation process for everybody can happy. Everybody need. I mean, the human being need to do stuff easy and faster. That's the
It's true.
main goal. Definitely,
It's
that's the main
true.
goal. If you're providing that kind of option right now for your clients, it's gonna be a hit
Oh, yeah.
immediately.
You're
Hmm.
absolutely right. You're absolutely
Yep.
right. Amaury, you're part of the Venezuela diaspora. the 8 million that left,
Yep.
and half of them didn't really leave. They left their heart in Venezuela, but their bodies are somewhere else.
Yep.
And so I think, personally, I think half are going to come back. It's just not today, but over time, because
Yep.
their heart is in Venezuela. I think other people left and they've established new roots here in the United States, family, marriage, all that. They're going to want to help. Are they going to move back? I don't know. But how should entrepreneurs be connecting with each other? You know, Venezuelan entrepreneurs here in the United States, how should they be connecting with each other? Should they be forming partnerships with other Venezuelan entrepreneurs in Venezuela? Like Amaury, if you have a cousin in Venezuela, should you guys be talking already? You know, that's boots on the ground. Like your cousin's over there, you know?
Right. Right.
Like, should they be having conversations together to see how do we attack this thing?
Yeah, that's incredible question, because this is a real story. After January of this 2026, I can tell you week later, after everybody knows what happened on Venezuela in the early on January, uh we start doing calls from our Venezuelan people there on the field, and we understand that, okay, now is the part of bringing the rebuild into Venezuela. This is gonna be happening right now. So, and how we can doing in a better way to help everybody to be involved in that, from my chair, from my perspective. So we start thinking, and we start to connecting with people. We start to, for example, from my experience, one of my first job on the field was an ExxonMobil, and I'm literally suffer the complication and the spread between the government, Venezuelan government and U.S. company. So I'm suffer that literally. I'm just come to the office and one day and then see everybody left. We don't have office. We just take it away our computer. So and say, now what am I doing now? What am I supposed to do around? Yeah, this is my normal job now. What I need to do? What's gonna be the next step? So we start connecting with people from the past and say,
Mm,
okay, this is the opportunity. This is the right opportunity. Definitely the first industry is going to be oil and gas. But after that, it's not the only one. There's a bunch of stuff. So how we can connect in those points and start to rebuilding right away. And yeah, the families will be there. Not only the family and the Venezuelan, everybody is invited. Everybody like you, like any people, they can bring ideas, they can rebuild the country, they can provide an option for families and friends to have a better life. That's
that's
that's the
true.
point. That's the real point.
I always love, like, I just started learning about Venezuela in 2017. Didn't, I'm Puerto Rican, so I didn't really, why am I going to study another country? But when I start studying it, I start learning that really Venezuela was built by Americans,
Yep.
Europeans,
Right.
Italians, Germans,
Yep.
Spaniards,
Mm-hmm.
huge mix during
Yeah.
the oil boom.
Yep.
Puerto Ricans too. I heard Puerto Ricans went over
Yes.
it was a collective effort.
Yep.
Um, this is why Venezuela is such a diverse place. You just
Mm-hmm.
got all types of last names. You got German last names, Italian.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah. Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
my staff is Venezuelan, and I'm
Incredible.
like, look at all these last names.
What exactly?
Um, but so you bring a good point, Amaury. I think right now at the beginning, who's going to be the most excited are Venezuelans, Americans, and Venezuelan-Americans, because that's kind of what's happening right now.
Right.
But I don't think the Germans and the Italians and all them are too far behind. I think, a lot of countries and companies are going to be part of the wave of
Yep.
entrepreneurship, just like it was in the 1900s. It's going to take a collective effort to
Right.
rebuild Venezuela. I think people know their Italian roots. People know their German roots. These countries have amazing products and services for the oil and gas, energy, technology, manufacturing. They're not going to be far behind in their thought process. The thing is, they're just further away physically than just hopping on a 3 hour and 22-minute flight from Miami. I
Yep.
think we're just going to see a lot more exchange between the United States and Venezuela
Yep.
naturally. But I
Hmm.
think it's going to be a global effort.
Yeah.
Um,
Completely.
you're going to
That's
get a
right.
lot of people from Dubai coming back, right? A
Hmm.
lot of Venezuelans went over to the Middle East,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
They're going to bring back technology. They're going to bring back,
Yeah.
a
The
lot of cool stuff.
knowledge.
It's
Yep.
going to be great. Amaury, what would you tell someone who wants to build a business serving Venezuela? Let's say you're on a podcast called Rebuilding Venezuela, and
Yeah.
there's some young entrepreneurs listening, some Venezuelan entrepreneurs. What would you tell them? How would you inspire them?
Absolutely. Wow. That is a great point because if I can go back to my start days when I start my first company, I love to listen to that kind of advice. First one, never but ever at all focus on the money. Monies will become definitely. If you focus on one solution for real people, they can have definitely better opportunity to grow up as a
Mm,
human being. That's gonna be the hit number one, you know. And money's gonna be after that, definitely. Second one, be transparent. I mean, offer the people real solution. Offer the people not that kind of tricky stuff that just I'm the boss and I know how to do it the stuff. So no, be completely open to the people. uh Trust in your own people, in your own team. you know that's also the CEO. That's also you have the card that everybody show that you are the owner of the company, but trust on your own people, because if you're working as a team, you're gonna be go faster forward, definitely.
I love that. I love that,
And
Amaury.
yeah, and the last one, be faith in God all the
Mm,
time. All the time. He's the number one. If you
hmm
put in him as a priority number one, the rest is gonna be easy.
I love that, because we're called to serve, and someone who's
Yes.
called to serve um, is someone who is looking to solve a problem. And I think, like what you said, if you just look to solve the problem, I think the financials have to work out, right? It's not like we could do everything for free.
Yep.
But I think, like you said, if you're looking to solve a problem, um, the opportunity will be there as long as
Hmm.
the business model is correct. Um, and I would say to those listening, you need to call on family in Venezuela and start getting on phone calls and finding out what are the problems to be
What other problem?
solved? What are
Exactly.
you missing?
Yeah.
What's still, what's going on there? You can't be a problem solver if you're not asking the questions. So get on the calls, find out. Who knows? You might call an uncle. The uncle says, "Hey, there's this thing." And you're like, "Man, I know this guy in Miami." And boom. And then you show up to a warehouse. And you're like,
Right.
"Look, I need to get this product over there." And next thing you
Exactly.
know,
Yep.
you're in the import export game. You're in the broker game.
Yep.
Those are very easy games to
Just
get
like that.
into. Those are very entrepreneurial.
Yep.
Then while you're in there, you might find out that they're using an outdated software of some sort, or a not like some kind of SaaS that's like very old or not specific. And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can create the SaaS that helps this logistics
Right.
company deliver this." Like it's already a
It's
SaaS
right
here in
there.
the United States.
Exactly.
Why isn't it over
Exactly.
there? Oh,
Yeah.
because the software won't open up in Venezuela because there's a sanction. Like there are softwares that literally won't open up in Venezuela.
Yep.
I was like, wait, now if we develop the software this way, boom, and this sanctions go, now I've got a custom solution here. It's all about talking with others, connecting with others, really
Listen to
getting to the
people
heart of it and really finding out where's the problem, where's the gap. Let's solve the problem.
and take the action.
Taking action. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And that's great. Thank you, Amaury, for this awesome conversation.
Thank you,
Um,
Alex.
God bless you and your endeavors, your entrepreneurial ventures.
Thank you,
I
my man.
know you and we're going to be doing some cool stuff together.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
I'm
Definitely.
excited for all of the entrepreneurship that's going to happen in Venezuela. And, well, I'm excited too because it's going to bring more jobs.
Yep.
It's going
It's
to be
gonna be
more jobs, more
more
opportunities.
opportunities. Uh-huh.
Um, and as that grows, well, I can also serve in my calling,
That's
which
right.
is to help others find their calling, to live in their purpose and their vocational calling. So thank you, Amaury, for for
Thank you,
being on
man.
this podcast.
Appreciate that.
God bless you. God bless Venezuela.
Amen. Take
Amen,
care.
brother.